Very, very nice this morning. I'm going to ask for any visiting Rotarians that are with us today. Alan, I believe Alan Zahar is on the call. Yeah, and we have muted you, so feel free to take yourself off of mute if you would like to make a comment. But Alan, welcome and glad you're here.
Yeah, well, hello from, I'm in Sun Lakes, but I'm from Athabasca, Alberta, Canada.
It's a great day to be in Sun Lakes as compared to based on the time of year, I think. So,
right.
As always, welcome and glad to have you with us.
Thank
Any
you.
other visiting Rotarians? I know our guest speaker, who Dick Thomas will introduce a bit later, is in Rotary as well as Toastmasters. But we will get to Terry Beard here a little bit later. But Terry, very glad that you're on the call today. Any other visiting Rotarians? Okay, how about non-Rotarian visitors? Okay, cover off on that. I'd like to, as we move forward, remind ourselves, and I'm going to try a quick screen share here, so bear with me, our Rotarian of the month for March. We are right at the midpoint of March, and meeting 3 of 5 is Marge Wright. Marge, again, congratulations, and very well deserving to be our Rotarian of the month for March. Thank you very much. I'll also like to remind us that March is Water and Sanitation Month for all Rotarians. So keep that in mind as we are moving forward. Earth Day is coming up here in another week, and we'll have more information on that, next month in April, and we'll have more information on that coming up. I did want to take this moment to acknowledge a couple of birthdays. Don't know that we have either one of these individuals on the call today, but Landon Osborne, his birthday is coming up on the 19th, an honorary member of our club. And Fred Christ, who we have not seen in a while, but Fred is among those who opts not to Zoom, but is very much looking forward to when he can get back in the meeting room with Rotarians, and Fred is celebrating a birthday here on the 20th of March. So keep those folks in mind, and if you feel like it, drop them an email or a phone call and wish them a happy birthday. Catching up a little bit, Candy Scribala, great to see you. And Dave Logan, looking good, my friend. Thank you. Good to see you today.
Morning.
Good morning. Okay. Have a couple of updates from our Rotary Club before I will turn it over to Dick Thomas to introduce our guest speaker today. We did have I'm gonna have to just take one moment here, bear with me. Get back to our meeting, and I'm gonna try resharing my screen. And hopefully this will come through. Last Thursday morning, I had the pleasure of presenting a check to Project Healing Waters for $3,500 in support of their work with veterans that are recovering and dealing with PTSD. Rich and Mark were there from Project Healing Waters, and the two very young looking individuals on the right are Stan Kaufman and Peter Mead. So it was a nice sunny day in the Cottonwood area there, and so we have that nice photo. We will have a motorcycle ride this year. Unfortunately, it's not happening in March like it would normally. It is happening in October. So we'll get more information on that date, but we're very happy to make that contribution now so that work can be done over the summer by Project Healing Waters to continue to support the veterans that they do. Some of you might have picked up on a note in my invitation on upcoming dates, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about an initial hybrid meeting that we are going to hold for our first meeting of April. It is on April the 6th. Details are still being worked out. However, this will be a limited number of people in person as we do this for the first time. I've had lots of people send me a note saying, oh, I think we ought to invite this group, or I think I ought to go, or what have you. So for those of you that are thinking of offering me money on the side, don't do that. It's not going to happen, or at least the dollar amounts that have been thrown around to date are certainly not getting my interest or attention. All kidding aside, that's not how we do things. We're certainly taking a look at trying to incorporate people that we have not seen in a while because of either technology limitations or just a lack of desire to want to do the Zoom meetings. It will be great to have them in the room. Likewise, we've got a lot of people that have hung in there and done Zoom pretty much without missing a meeting for a year, and are also equally anxious to get back in the meeting room. So this will be an iterative process as we grow more. I can just share with you that we will follow the house rules of Palo Verde in terms of wearing masks and distancing. Chuck Hawkins and I are meeting with the catering manager tomorrow. We're going to go over how about this, and can we do that, and how do we handle this, so that we have everything fully delineated and understood by everybody. And if you don't get to go in person to this April 6th meeting, we'll certainly keep track of who did. And the next hybrid meeting, we likely will have a different group of people that can be there in person as we grow back to and develop a much larger number of people in the room going forward. So I appreciate your understanding. If anybody wants to send me their thoughts, ideas, or hey, have you considered this? Please feel free to do so. The power of multiple minds coming together and brainstorming how things can best work is always appreciated. I guarantee you we will not satisfy everybody in terms of, oh, I think we ought to do this. And finally, for those that are just not comfortable, they absolutely are a member of a club, they want to be in the club, but they just don't feel now is the time to get back in the room. Hey, no judgment and no harm at all. If you want to continue to Zoom for several weeks/months as we go forward, so long as we can continue to prove out the hybrid meeting technology and our ability to do this, where people on the Zoom call can have the feel and the vibe of I'm almost as good as being in the room in their minds, and likewise the people in the room can see and hear when people that are calling in are wanting to participate. That's going to be the best combination that we are striving for. So I've talked to a lot of clubs that are doing hybrids. A lot of them have started and then stopped. The technology and the audio system and the capability of the room size are all variables that we will be managing as we go forward. The great thing about being able to manage those are, as we get into the summer months and many of our members escape the heat and go to a better or a different location in terms of where they want to be, the ability to Zoom and connect with the club now and again is pretty powerful. Also, the ability to have excellent guest speakers join us from wherever in the world they may be, in and of itself is really a gift and something that I don't want to lose. So we will continue to strive for how to perfect hybrid meetings, and I appreciate your patience and your ideas as we move forward. Any questions or comments on that? Okay, thank you very much. Norm Noble's waving his hand. Norm, take yourself off of mute and go ahead.
The only thing you mentioned it just in passing, but I think it's really exciting possibilities for us with these Zoom meetings, is that we can go out and find speakers who normally would not get up in the morning and come to Sun Lakes at 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
They'd rather be at home, and I think our possibilities of interesting speakers are unlimited.
Yeah, it's a great point, Norm. And I'll just share with the club. I've been in email contact with a area governor in Africa that has found our club through probably a search for which clubs might help me on a global project, but that's okay. But he has been quite persistent in following up and saying, hey, I hear you have morning and afternoon meetings, doing the time clock. One of those is going to be much more preferable for him to participate or not. He would just like to attend a meeting and maybe just have a chance to share a few words. So we haven't figured out the date when we can make that happen. But likely, you know, a year and a half, 2 years ago, we would never even have had that conversation or even considered that as something that we could do as a club. So with every dark cloud, there's some silver linings. So
I
we will
think it
hopefully,
allows us to have some guts and reach out to somebody we might not otherwise.
yeah,
Um,
that is true. Okay, with that, I am going to turn it over to Dick Thomas, who has the pleasure of introducing our guest speaker today. If you're not on mute, I would ask you to go back on mute. Terry's going to spend about 30 minutes with us this morning, including some Q&A time. So does not have slides to present. So in a way, that's kind of refreshing when folks just talk with us as though we were in the room. So Dick Thomas, over to you.
Thank you, President John, and good morning, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Toastmasters, Rotarians. Terry Beard was born in Oregon, Illinois, and as a small child moved to Vancouver, where he spent his childhood years growing up. After high school, he went into the Army and for a while was stationed in Germany. When Terry returned from his tour of duty with the armed forces, he went to the University of San Francisco and graduated with a BS in business. At age 25, Terry launched his first Beard's Frame Shop in Portland, Oregon, with a few $1,000s and lots of sweat equity. Beard's Frame Shops and Frame Central grew into a 40-store regional chain, along with manufacturing, distribution, and online sales. Beard's Frame Shops achieved broad market recognition in the Pacific Northwest. His quest included traveling the world to select trees, lumber, supplies for his frames. In 1999, Terry merged Beard's Frame Shops with Northwest Framing in Seattle. Terry serves and has served on board of directors for several local companies and organizations in Portland, including Goodwill Industries of the Columbia Willamette, the East Portland Rotary Club, Guide Dogs for the Blind, the Neil Kelly Company, Atenza, and Snyder Roofing. In 1993, Terry joined Rotary, and in the year 2001-2002 was their club president at the East Portland Club, which, by the way, was the same year I was president of the Portland Club, and that's where Terry and I started our long-term friendship. Terry has been a member of Toastmasters since 2001. He served as a volunteer Toastmaster mentor with the State of Oregon, USA Department of Corrections. In 2015, in October, Terry was a founding charter member of the Portland Rotary Toastmasters Club. Terry is a voracious reader of books about famous people who have lived to make a difference, a lover of fine wines, delicious food, good friends, and international travel. Terry and his wife, Pascal Theriere Beard, live between Portland and Paris. And for those of you looking at Terry's background, that is not what's left of downtown Portland, but guess where it is. Terry is also the proud father of two sons, Jeff and MG. Terry is the author of a book, Squelched, Succeeding in Business and Life by Finding Your Voice. This morning, Terry is going to talk to us about the power of finding your voice and overcoming glossophobia. Please help me welcome Terry Beard.
Good morning, fellow Rotarians, and Dick Thomas, fellow Rotarian and Toastmaster. Many of you might know this, but Dick is a Rotarian in Portland as well, and a Toastmaster with the Portland Rotary Toastmaster Club. Dick, thank you for inviting me to share a few words this morning, and John, thank you very much. Many years ago, I thought that I would need to overcome something that most of us fear, and that's we'd rather be in the coffin than give the eulogy. Public speaking is the fear for most people. And for 49 years of my 73 years, I suffered from this glossophobia, the fear of public speaking, so much so that I would find excuses to make sure that I wasn't in the front row, that I wasn't at Rotary Club meetings, nowhere where I'd be called upon to get up and speak. But 22 years ago at age 52, I was introduced to Toastmasters and to Dale Carnegie speaking seminars. I knew I needed to overcome the glossophobia, the fear of public speaking, because with my two sons, if I didn't take care of myself, they too would inherit this dreadful disease. We don't think about it, we don't talk about it, but between 70 and 75% of the population of our great country suffers from the fear of public speaking. There's another 10 to 15% that are called upon at a Rotary meeting or in a business environment or some volunteer organization where we need to get up and speak. The number is somewhere between 85 and 90% of people have this problem and the fear of public speaking. As a member of Rotary, I've been committed, like all of you, to service above self. I've worked in Chile on medical missions with Rotoplast and Rotarians. I've done Meals on Wheels. I've worked with the Boy Scouts, the Cub Scouts, the Girl Scouts. I've done all kinds of different things like many of you, but I was looking for something that was as great a problem that needs to be overcome. Polio Plus. We're working on it. We're getting close. We're not quite there. I decided I needed to find something that would work for not only myself, but for other people. And I'm proud to share with all of you that my two sons do not have glossophobia. Both of them have become accomplished public speakers. So along about 6 years ago, a childhood friend was here to celebrate his 80th birthday. We grew up across the street from each other. We stayed in contact through the internet. And he said, I'm going to come to Portland. I live now in Nicaragua, and I'm a Rotarian in San Juan del Sur. So we met, we went to Rotary together, and we spent the afternoon. That was the plan, and that's what we did. We went to a Rotary Club meeting, my home club, Dick's home club in Portland. And we had a couple of speakers. And they got up, and I, like all of you, go week after week, and we have people that have great topics, but they can't deliver a message. We had two speakers, a man and a woman this day, who were given a talk about gun violence and about the death of this lady's mother who was killed in a shopping mall. Great messages, but the delivery was terrible. And my friend Ralph, the visiting Rotarian from Nicaragua, hit me upside the shoulder, and he said, in my club where we have 30 members, if I brought in speakers like this that can't carry a message, I'd be tarred and feathered. I said, we're getting a lot of speakers in here with great topics, but they aren't able to deliver a message. I have something to say about this. So I wrote a letter to our president of the Rotary Club, and I told him we have a problem. We're not getting people to come back. We're having difficulty getting guests to come in because we don't feel good about the people who are speaking at our club. So I was asked to go to the Rotary Board of Director meeting, and I went with Melissa Shikara, and she and I had been talking about Toastmasters for her. And I went to this board meeting, and I presented the idea that we ought to start a public speaking group, and I would talk to Toastmasters to see if we couldn't put together Portland Rotary with a Portland Toastmaster Club. And I was approved. Melissa became our first president. We've been around, as Dick mentioned, since the middle of October of 2015. And we now have over 40 members in our Rotary Toastmaster Club. And each week we get between 25 and 30 people to attend. It's amazing the service above self that's occurring with all the different people that come. A lot of people in our age group that I'm looking on the screen today are saying, well, we got to get the young people to do this. We have people in our club between the ages of 20 and 85. We have stories of people who have been coming to Rotary Toastmasters every Wednesday morning at 7:15. Dick is an active member. As you mentioned, John, he joins us by Zoom. He gave a speech last week. It was a great story. And then a few weeks ago, he gave a story about car racing and what he does in Mexico. It was a great speech. Great job, Dick. We have people who come to Toastmasters who say, I don't need this. And then they'll call back and say, yes, I'd like to join. And I think we junior seniors many times think we got to get the young people doing this. But folks, I'm here to tell you, there's a lot of us in our age group who are looking for something meaningful to do. And I think helping others to find their voices is one of the greatest gifts that we can give people. No matter how much money we can leave behind for our children, if we can leave them with their voices, nobody needs to speak for my two sons. They can get up and speak for themselves. And the benefits of being a good public speaker are another thing we don't talk about. Public speaking is a report card on our self-esteem and our self-confidence levels. And the better we feel about ourselves, the better we get along with other people. And as I was sharing with Dick, and as Dick knows, we have people from 20 to 85. There's 3 different people I can mention. They have come in, they're in their 60s, and they have found their voices. That's Shireen Rico and David Wilkins. And then another one is Mike Sandoval, who's now at the same age that I am, who retired as an attorney, graduated from Willamette Law School, and he's marched down to tell the dean and the president of Willamette University, I'm not going to give any more money unless you make public speaking a requirement. An accomplished public speaker, along with a law degree, is something that's really important. Because prior to Mike Sandoval finding his voice, he said, all I did was wordsmith in the back room and produced all the word product for other people to make the presentations. And they always made more money and had more opportunity than I had. Another gentleman, Thomas Grover, works in a bar. He was 24, 25 at the time. Got to know this guy, works in a restaurant that hangs over the edge of a cliff on a river here in nearby Portland, Oregon. And I said, Thomas, where are you going as a bartender? It looks like there's a lot of years ahead of you. He said, well, I'm not quite too sure. I said, have you ever considered going to Toastmasters and learn how to find your voice? Well, I thought about it, but I don't know that it's in the cards for me. I said, well, I'll tell you what we could do. You could come as my guest, get a whiff, and see if this is for you. So a few weeks later, he came in. He comes every week. He's been there now 2.5, 3 years. Bob DeVee, another person who found his voice, hired him. Thomas now, at age 25, 26, is a financial advisor with a brand new career. He is now starting to bring people into our Rotary Toastmaster group. So where are we going with all of this? The Portland Rotary Club has been noticed by Rotary International and by Toastmasters International. There have been a few organizations who have attempted to do the Rotary Toastmaster Alliance, and it's not been successful. We have been successful at Portland Rotary, and we continue to be successful. And so they found the idea. Al Jubitz of the Portland Rotary Club got a hold of Rotary International and put a spotlight on our club. I know Gary Schmidt, a past president of Toastmasters, and they all got together and they shine and continue to shine a spotlight on what we're doing and why it's working. Because most Toastmaster clubs do not get 25 to 30 people to a meeting. And as a result of what we're doing, there's this alliance that's been put together called the Rotary Toastmaster Alliance. but there hasn't been any execution plan. So I have been fielding questions and calls and different Zoom calls about how this might all work. But what I do know, it's service above self. We're having a lot of fun. And Dick, please share with us your experience with Portland Rotary Toastmasters in the last 3 years that you've been a member.
You would put me on the spot. So quite honestly, when Terry approached me when he was forming the club, I said, Terry, I'm retired. I don't need this shit at all. I'm through with, all of these things that you're talking about. I'm not doing it. Well, about 3 years ago, I said, well, I better go and, make Terry happy. What I found was that it was very uplifting for me to be exposed to people in a role where they are being mentored to become better speakers and thus improve their livestock. And for me, I joined, and the first time I had to give a speech, I was sweating like no tomorrow. And I've been in a role in my career. Stephen, you can relate to this. We make presentations to clients several times a day, sometimes several times a week. And it was difficult for me to get through some of those. But now the joy that I have, it's almost a euphoria after I give a speech and people look at me and say, that was great, that was wonderful, and thank you for sharing. It's just been a life-changing role for me, and I find that it really puts us all in a role of being a good mentor. So Terry, I'm throwing it back to you.
Thank you, Dick. I have several stories to share, and one of my favorites is David Wilkins. David is now 68 years old. He's a CPA. He's a numbers guy. I've worked with him over the last 10 years, and I could tell that he suffers from glossophobia, or he did. So I brought him into Toastmasters, and we had a hard time getting him to the podium, the lectern, to give a talk. So he struggled for the next 2 or 3 years, and he found his voice. And in June of 2019, we learned through a follow-up meeting at Toastmasters that in Hillsborough High School, west of Portland, Oregon, there was graduation ceremony, and one of his children had just graduated, one of his daughters. And the principal, after the diplomas were dispensed, said, I'd like to ask any of you parents to come up here and to congratulate for everyone your child that's received a diploma today from high school. Nobody would get up. We all know that, get the first cracker out of the can. And so David went up and he congratulated his daughter in front of this group of people. And then all of a sudden, all of the other fathers in the room got in line to congratulate their son or daughter. And when David sat down, his wife tapped him on the knee, as he shared with us at a meeting following this graduation ceremony. His wife, Cindy, tapped him on the knee and said, you couldn't have done that a year ago. And not only changed his life, but you just imagine how his daughter felt that her father got up to congratulate her in front of everyone. Here we go, public praise. Does anyone have any questions?
Well, Terry, let me ask you. You're talking about this speaking impediment, if you will, that you had, and my concern, not concern, but my thoughts always have been with that problem. How were you able to start beards and grow beards as a regional frame shop?
That is a good question, and it's one that I live with, and it's some regret, but it's the what is for the time. But I would always get other people to get up and speak for me. If it was 2 or 3, 4 people in a meeting room, not a problem to chat with people at a table. We can all talk sitting down. But when you stand up, it's like getting up at the golf tee. Everybody's watching. And so I had all these different people speaking for me. And even though we have a good culture and we still do some many years later, some really good people, good customer service. But what I wanted to share with people, I wasn't able to really do myself because I always was getting somebody else to do my talking for me.
Any questions for Terry?
Yeah,
I've got one from Elaine Rawls. Elaine, we'll let you go first.
Great. Yeah, thank you for being here this morning. So are the Toastmaster clubs that are associated with the Rotary clubs, are they closed clubs, like a corporate club where the people in that club have to be Rotarians, or are they open to the community, or what?
Thank you for that, Elaine. When we first started our club in October 2015, the charter group was 25 people. That's the requirement of Toastmasters. And we effectively have become a committee of the Toastmaster Club, Portland Rotary Toastmasters. So we have a charter, Portland Rotary Toastmasters, and we had 25 members. They're all Rotarians. However, today we are about 50% Rotarian and 50% Toastmasters, which means 50% are both Rotarians and Toastmasters. But we invite everyone, any age, doesn't make any difference. You don't have to belong to Rotary. But what happens is that people come to Portland Rotary Toastmasters and they hear Rotary's name being mentioned in the organization, and people like Bob DeVee or Sandra Saran will say, Terry, or to someone else, geez, what's this Rotary all about? Can I go to Rotary with you? And of course, we take people as guests. And the other thing that happens when we go to and Dick knows this, when we go to a Rotary Club meeting on Tuesday, the Rotary Toastmaster meetings on Wednesday. We'll have guests, fellow Rotarians, but we all are Toastmasters, so we're the cool kids in the cafeteria. And there's no greater way to get to know someone than go to a Toastmaster meeting, because everybody participates with a 45-second or 1-minute speech on a particular topic of the day. And imagine all the different meetings that Dick and I have been to. We know a little bit about everybody because everybody's talking every week. And we are now on Zoom, and we have been since last April. And so we have people coming in from Australia, New Zealand, the UK, all of the United States. There's always 1 or 2 people that are not a member of our group, but they're getting the word out. And they're finding that we really have a sense of community. And as John said, you're going to have a hybrid meeting. We're going to start in the next 2 or 3 weeks with a hybrid meeting because people are anxious to get back together in the same room. But we don't restrict it to any organization. It's open to everyone.
Thank you.
Great discussion there. I've had a couple of items come forward in the chat, Terry. And it kind of evolves around, how could we attend a Toastmasters Zoom meeting? And do you limit the number of guests coming in, given the fact you need to control how many people are speaking that week? And if you got a bunch of newbies that might start firing questions, et cetera, do you have some guidelines around, we'll cap it at like 3 or 4 guests, or and I know there's also a local Toastmasters club here in Chandler. So if people are looking to attend a Toastmasters meeting, they could do that. What I believe the local Chandler Toastmasters group lacks at the moment is a strong alliance and partnership with Rotary. Doesn't mean it's not a great experience, but Terry, do you want to maybe comment on how maybe guests could find a way to attend one of your meetings?
Absolutely. John, please feel free to share. Dick, share my email address and/or phone number. I'm going to sound like a know-it-all here, but I've done so many Toastmaster meetings. I've been to between 1,600 and 2,000 meetings. 36 people in a meeting room for Toastmasters, everybody can participate. More than that, then you become spectators. But if there are more than that, in other words, if there are more than 36 people in a meeting room, then I will be talking to the president of the club, and we will let people know that we'll have to adjust the ground rules.
Mm-hmm.
I also strongly recommend that people attend one of our meetings before they go to any meeting you want. I mean, but we have some secret sauce. We don't have rule books. We have guardrails and guidelines how we run a meeting, but we don't follow manuals.
Mm-hmm.
We just encourage people to participate. And as people feel good about participating, you don't need the manuals, because we're working on really self-esteem and self-confidence without saying it.
Got it. Thank you very much for that. So one practice that we have developed on and off, but mostly on the last several weeks, is we are recording our Zoom meetings and then sending the link out for not only those people that missed the meeting, but also sometimes those of us that attended the meeting. Depending on how much content the speaker is trying to get through, it moves quite quickly. And the opportunity to go back and re-listen to the meeting or review the meeting is a nice touch for those that are interested. So this meeting is being recorded as well. But I will be glad to pass along your contact information to anyone in our club that is interested. Please respect if several of us are responding to Terry, his comments about the governor, if you will, in terms of controlling the flow of how many visitors would come in at any given point in time. The fact that, and Terry, is it a weekly meeting for your Toastmaster club?
Yes, it is. We're in the same time zone. Thank God for daylight saving time. I know that Arizona, you guys don't do that, but we are on the same time zone now.
Yep.
It's 7:15. We start promptly at 7:15 and we adjourn at 8:30 promptly. And we meet every week except for a week of a holiday. So
And
that
that's on
means
Wednesday mornings, correct?
Wednesday mornings. Yeah, thank you. Wednesday mornings. So that means the meeting we're going to miss next is going to be Memorial Day weekend.
Understand.
Yeah, Memorial Day week.
Okay, we'll take a few more questions and then we will move on. But Norm, looks like your hand's up. Go ahead. Norm, you got to get off of mute.
Right. You
There
put
you
me
go.
on it. Anyway, Terry, I just observing it, with your meetings at 7:15, that's a good deal for us once you get off daylight savings time, because it means it's 8:15 for us.
Yes.
Yeah, one person's good deal is another person's I have a conflict. So we'll always keep that in mind as we do that. I have had the benefit of attending one of the local Chandler Toastmasters clubs, and it's a positive experience, and you get some good feedback. I have attended one of the Portland Toastmaster clubs as well, courtesy of an invite from Dick Thomas. So great learning opportunities. And when I think about the number of projects that we do, even if it's in a small group setting, you might be the individual representing our Rotary Club at that event. And being confident in being able to step up and address whatever size group is there, to thank them, acknowledge them, encourage them to partner with our club or support, it's a whole lot better to be able to stand up, look, good eye contact, good best practices in public speaking, if you will, as you're representing, our Rotary Club and yourself as an individual. So highly endorse and recommend what Terry's been speaking on to our club here this morning. Any other questions for Terry before we move on?
Yeah, John, David has his hand up.
Oh, okay. I'm toggling back around. Go ahead, David.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. 42 years ago, when I started my first Rotary Club, one of the first members we took in was a former district governor of Toastmasters in Minneapolis, Minnesota. He became a district governor of Rotary. So it continued up the line. My question is this a Toastmasters organization or a Rotary organization? Thank you. In other words, your Toastmasters Rotary in Portland, is it organized as a Toastmasters club, like this, or is it a Rotary club under the Rotary auspices?
The Portland Rotary Toastmaster Group is a chartered Toastmaster club, but it's connected to the Portland Rotary Club and is referred to as a committee. It's not a standalone away from Rotary. It's an alliance. It's an alliance. But we don't have any oversight from the board at Rotary from our Rotary Club telling us how to run our Toastmaster group. We're self-contained.
Okay,
Got it.
thank you.
Good question, David. Thank you. Okay, well,
Okay, one last thing here, John. I just want to let everyone know, I've put a couple links in the chat. One of the links was for the Toastmasters International, just their general link. Another one is how to find a club. Super easy. I was able to find 13 different clubs in a 2 to 3 mile radius from 85248. And then David, specifically, there's an article from the Rotary website about that's kind of regarding the Toastmasters and Rotary partnership. So that might help you all out, kind of figure out what's going on here.
very, very good. All right, quick show of hands. How many of you know how to go capture the chat from a meeting so that you can have those details and content? We are not the majority at the moment. So I'm just going to plug right now. Next week's meeting is a club business meeting. We're going to go over some best practices on Zoom. As much as we're going to get back into meeting rooms and enjoy being back in one another's company, we're going to have hybrid meetings for quite some time, and you may have an opportunity to Zoom with family in another part of the world, etc. So next week's meeting is going to include some Zoom best practices, including how do I hang on to what was in the chat and reference it down the road. So there's other things as well that are coming up on next week's meeting. So Terry, congratulations on the work that you have done. Congratulations on reinforcing that you don't have to be early career professional to drink the cup of knowledge around Toastmasters. The old dog, new tricks may not be the best analogy, but I think it's a nice reminder that there's no bad time to get involved and to find your voice. So thank you so much for your presentation this morning.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, before I jump into happy, sad, if you could all take out your pen and pencil and the notepads that I know you diligently keep in front of you when we have these meetings. I want to just point out a couple of key dates that are coming up. April the 10th, a Saturday morning, you likely have seen a few emails and some communications about our Rotary Rally. Signups are going, I think, fairly well. Christine, you want to maybe say a few words as to how many have signed up to date and remind folks a little bit about the time frame and what all will be involved that morning?
Sure. So it's super exciting. So far, we've had 28 people say yes to being there. We're asking everybody to get online and register. There's a link on the Facebook page as well as the Rotary website, or you can email Stephen, Scott, Peter, myself to get signed up, call us. But we're having everybody meet at Sisk Park at 8:30 on the 10th, and having a group of anywhere from like 2 to 4 people. And the first half, you'll get your first clue to go to your first stop. It's almost like a scavenger hunt to the area businesses that support Rotary. And those area businesses will give you the next clues. Some, I think, are having their own little drawing as well. And you'll go through the different processes. And in the end, we'll all gather back at Sisk Park for some more people who are there that sponsor our club. And they'll have other information and tents up. The sponsors will, and we have a couple drawings for a raffle prize, but we need everybody to sign up, and we're really excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Very good. So any questions can go to Christine/Stephen Fair/ Scott Favor. This is a combination of multiple things, including acknowledging and thanking our sponsors for supporting us. It's a little bit of a fellowship and getting to spend time with one another in an appropriate space and size of groups, et cetera. And most of this is outdoors as far as the CIS Park activity. So I appreciate you marking your calendars on the 10th of April. Those of us that start our taxes on the 11th, we don't have to worry about a conflict. We can wait until the 11th, start our tax work for 4 days, get it knocked out, right?
Yeah, and you don't have to be a member of Rotary to do this. Bring a friend with. We'd love to introduce them.
Great point, Christine. Thanks for that comment as well. April 13th, our club meeting will be let me do my math here, that will be an afternoon meeting. Our district governor, Elizabeth Mahoney, makes a visit to every club. We have been holding out in hopes of her being able to attend in person. And even though we're doing a hybrid meeting on the 6th, I'm not sure we're able to do it on the 13th, but I guarantee you, Elizabeth will not be there in person because district governors and above in Rotary are not allowed for in-person meetings with Rotary clubs until the new Rotary year starts in July. So she will be Zooming in from wherever. I will let you know whether we're going to have a hybrid meeting that day or not. A lot is going to depend on how April 6th goes, but we'll definitely be meeting on Zoom. So if you can please attend that afternoon meeting, it would be great to hear from the district governor. I'm working with Ed Anderson on the agenda, but we're going to share a little bit about some of the work and exciting things that we've been able to do as a club this year. And I know she has some information for us on what's happening at the district level. And as she winds up her year as district governor, what we are going to be looking forward to in 21/22. So April 13th afternoon meeting. April 22nd is the tree planting ceremony and celebration at Snedeker Park. And more information will be coming out on that, but I believe it's about 3:15 in the afternoon? You can help me out, Marge or Judy. We're going to have multiple people there, including some city officials, hopefully some other Rotarian guests. Maureen has made arrangements for early elementary school, or maybe, I don't know what age group exactly, Maureen?
Kindergartners.
Kindergartners, okay. Lots of positive messages on Earth Day as we are sponsoring the planting of an ash tree in East Snedeker Park. And so I know it's in the afternoon. Rumor has it.
3:15 to 3:45.
Yeah, it's only a half an hour.
Starts at 3:15, ends at 3:45.
We'll make sure.
I think it starts at 3:45.
Okay, I'm going to let you two work that offline because we were definitely going to get that ironed out. But right now, save the afternoon. If you can come out, I don't expect everybody to be able to make it, but if you're in town and you can, I think that'll be great. I know we'll have cold water. We're working on getting some chairs lined up. It's not a super long period of time, but for those of you that would rather be sitting, there's not going to be a ton of long speeches, but we are trying to include some sponsors as well as community leaders as we sponsor our first tree in the City of Chandler program. So that is on the 22nd. Any questions about those save the dates? Other than Maureen and Marge will get together and we'll make sure we've got the right time frame confirmed. We're going to shift into happy, sad. Oh, one more item. I made the kind of snide remark about doing taxes. Yes, I do my taxes and I do file them on time. And when I do file them on time, I do look around at different organizations where I could get a state of Arizona tax credit that I would like to support. And so I want to remind everybody that the Rotary Vocational Fund of Arizona, TRVFA, is out there. It's a great program supported by Rotary. Jeannie Morgan, past district treasurer, is heading this up for the district. You can go to that website, trvfa.org. Click donate now and take it on through, or this is available on the Rotary District website, or if you'd like a copy and you don't want to do it over the internet, you can let me know. $400 state tax credit for an individual, $800 for a couple. I know there's a lot of great programs out there that offer this Arizona tax credit. The TRVFA is one of those. As of last week, we had 11 members of our club that have already signed up for this. I did not get a data point yesterday, so I can't tell you whether any more signed up last week, but very good program. And if you're looking for ways to spend your money as you file your taxes that support great programs in Arizona, I encourage you to take a look at that one. Okay, happy, sad. We're going to start with Bob Phillips. And take yourself off of mute. If you're planning on making a comment, take yourself off of mute now so you're ready when I call on you, unless you got a lot of barking dogs today. Bob, what do you got for us?
Yeah, I'd like to give $20 for Terry. I'm probably one of the only people that have used his service, and anybody that's been to my house knows all the art we have. And he has such a great, store. He didn't talk very much about it, but let me tell you, Baird framing is outstanding. So Terry, if you came to my house, you'd see all of the work that your people did. So $20 for Terry, and thank you. And tell Sandra Saran I said hello.
Oh, thank you, Bob. Thank you very much.
Very, very nice. Thank you, Bob. Good start for our group today. Who else is in on Happy Sad today? We're a little bit light today. I do want to.
So it looks like we got Chuck Hawkins and then Don Robbins and then Maureen.
All right, so Chuck, Don, and then Maureen. Go ahead, Chuck.
I'd like to put in 11 happy dollars. 10 happy dollars were for my bride and better half, who had her, became a year younger last Wednesday. Her best friend from high school joined us for lunch from Indiana.
Oh, nice.
One remaining happy dollar is for the date yesterday that should have been a national holiday. And I'm not speaking of the Ides of March. I'm speaking of the day, the 59th time that this has been the day that the buzzards returned to Hinckley, Ohio.
We're going to file that one under the annals of you learn something new every day. So Chuck, thank you very much. I was not aware of that. Don Robbins.
Mark, I've got $10 for your basket for the Fighting Illini of Illinois. They are the Big Ten champions this year, and they have just been playing outstanding the last few weeks. And I'll have more for that basket as they move through the NCAA tournament. So $10 for the Fighting Illini.
Well, there's a reason our club should root for the Fighting Illini. We'll have a nice sum of money here if they make it to the Final Four. Okay, Maureen Alger.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
I have 10, I guess I'm sorry, dollars. It's not boring being Maureen Alger, and we have a new kitten and she's all over the place. So I'm so sorry that she keeps going in front of us. When I'm at school, I feel like I'm saying sorry because the kids are there and the teachers are there. And at home, I thought I'd have peace and quiet, but it's not boring. So sorry about that. And I appreciate everybody always understanding that it's Maureen Alger is not boring.
Maureen, we would never accuse you of being boring, and compared to some of the things that I've seen.
I'm not.
Some of the things I've seen on people's screens the last year during Zoom meetings, trust me, kittens don't even bump the G rating. So that's great to know. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and throw in 5 happy dollars on behalf of Stan Kaufman. Stan is seeing his eye doctor this morning, so he can't be with us, but he and Suzanne are getting their second shots this week. And he sent me the, hey, I won't be there, but please put 5 happy dollars in on behalf of Suzanne and I getting our second shots. So I wanted to add that. Peter Mead and then Christine.
Yeah, so I just pulled up our reports for the Rotary Foundation, and we now have our year in for our goal. So last summer, John and I set the goal for club fundraising for the annual fund at $10,000, which is $1,000 less than last year. And we thought that was a reasonable thing to do since we would have a challenging year. You know, And here we are. It's in March. We still have 4 months, 3 or 4 months left of the Rotary year, and we're at our goal. I just want to say thank you. And if you haven't participated in the Rotary Foundation this year, please give me, contact me. I'd like to see that number get a little bigger yet. And there's plenty of time. So give me a call, give me an email, whatever, and I'll get you the right form so you can support Rotary around the world.
Peter, thank you very much. Not to put pressure on you, but was there a dollar amount on Happy Sad with that, or are you just making a Rotary Foundation comment?
$10.
$10 is in there. It's good. And I don't want to try to influence anybody, but the number that we need to end up with rhymes with 13 or higher. So just want to set that out there so that you understand what we are looking for. Okay, Christine, over to you.
I'll do a total of 30, 10 for, I feel like we found a really good doctor for my mom that takes on unique cases. So I'm super excited about that. $10. But I'm really happy that my brother and I live close to each other. So thank you, Peter. And $10 for 1 more month until I'm going to be a grandma for the first time. Yay.
Wow. Congratulations. All 3 of those are outstanding rationale and reasons. So we appreciate that very much. Okay, any others today? I'm sorry, I'm toggling back and forth between a couple of screens today because I've got other windows open for other reasons right now. Okay, I will throw $10 in. We're really proud of our club and where we are. I want to thank everybody for what we've done. I want to thank everybody for what we're doing in the here and now. And I especially want to thank everybody for what we are going to be doing as we go forward. So already very excited about the upcoming Rotary year and some of the work that the incoming presidents have been meeting on in the last 6 weeks. Incoming board is meeting this Friday. The sun never sets on Sun Lakes Rotary Club. I can tell you that, folks. We got a lot going on and it's going to be a great time. So
Mark Staples.
Dollars for that. Has one. Yep. I'm sorry, Mark, did you have one?
Yeah, I want to make 10 happy dollars. I really do miss that picture that Norm had earlier. That was terrific. But I also want to put in $10 to celebrate I paid off my Rotary bill.
Oh.
That's called irony.
Yeah. Yeah, congratulations on being out of debt, and now we're going to bill you another $10. So I like that approach. Very good. Okay, folks, we are going to wrap up on time. I want to thank everybody for their participation today. Reminder, next week, club business meeting, we're going to go through a summary of all of the donations and gifting that our club has been able to do so far this Rotary year, as well as Zoom best practices. And if anybody has any other items they'd like to hear about, I will also have an update for the progress that we're making for our first hybrid meeting on April the 6th. So with that, I'm going to conclude the meeting. Oh,
just a reminder to our Foundation 2000 board members, stay online for our meeting.
I guess that includes the Zoom host here too. So thank you very much for that, Ron. I won't disconnect the meeting. Thank you. Everybody have a good week.